This is South Florida Interfaith Worker Justice, Podcast Mondays.
This is Jeanette with South Florida Interfaith Worker Justice, and this is our very first podcast, something that we're going to be doing every Monday from now on, so you should be looking out for it. So basically, we are a worker justice organization located in South Florida, and our mission is to improve the conditions of workers in our community, whether it's wage theft, workplace safety, or just basically people knowing what their rights are in the workplace. And we also want to engage all of you in helping with that work. So even if you yourself are not affected by it, you're interested in being a part of it and being a part of making change in South Florida. So you might wonder why we're relevant in South Florida. And it's interesting. Our board president, Rabbi Schiff, said to me one time, and you have to understand, Rabbi Schiff has been around since the civil rights movement and has always done a lot of social justice. He said if interfaith worker justice did not exist, we would need to invent it because the need is so strong. All of us work, we all work, we are all affected by what happens to workers in our community. So that's why we're here. Often I speak to groups of young people that are in town, like alternative spring breaks and things, and they always ask me, why do I do the work that I do? You know, what I explain to them is I don't know how to not do this kind of work. For example, if I were to see somebody fall down, I wouldn't say, oh, look, that person fell down and keep walking down the street. I'd go over and try to help them. And I think that once you're aware that there are issues in your community, you have to do something. There really isn't an option. And we've done some really great things at South Florida IWJ. In 2010, we passed the first countywide wage theft ordinance in the entire country. You heard me, Miami-Dade County, something progressive in 2010. Since then, we've collected over $2 million, or awarded and collected over $2 million for workers in our community. And when you think about the fact that the average claim is usually for about $800, you realize just how many people are affected. This summer, we're expecting to do a lot more because we have some summer interns with us that are here in the room. And I suspect in a future podcast, you'll hear more from them too. But again, basically what we do is we're a network of people of faith. We're called upon our religious values, our faith traditions, to educate, to organize, to mobilize the religious community, to support workers in their campaigns, to also be there to help workers lift up their voices. And whether or not you belong to a particular religious institution or house of worship, or if you just self-describe as spiritual, there's still a place for you with us. We all know what's right. And that's what we want to do. We want to work to make change in South Florida, and we want to be able to partner with you, with your organization. Maybe you want to volunteer or get involved. You can also find us to get more information to see if you do want to get involved. Visit us on the web at sfiwj.org. That's sfiwj.org, as in South Florida Interfaith Worker Justice. Or look for us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. And I guess we'll be talking to you again next week. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in. This is South Florida Interfaith Worker Justice Podcast Mondays.